probably just about a minute to go until we're actually going to get underway. Appenloo, the pole sitter, is weaving all over the place trying to get temperature in his tyres. Guitar Rich and Dimenta doing the exact same thing. I am slow there, just watching, poised, waiting for his opportunity here. He doesn't seem to be as exuberant as the other guys. Archie, Pete Bibb, Yellow Army there in the mid-pack with Spuzz. Jazman, 9th place here. Former champion of this league, but not the reigning champ. The reigning champ is Spuzz, who really consistency paid off for him last season. Managed to get multiple podium finishes without even taking a win. But his consistency, as we said there, took the championship for him. Jazman, a former champion of this league, has also won the Sprint Cup on the PS4 on a Sunday, as well as the PS5 GT3 league as well. So he's a 3-time champion here at Motive in 3 different leagues here on ACC. Senna at P10, Nilsson in 11th. Absolute staple here at Motive, has been with us since the beginning. Tynus in starting P12. He was second to Jazman in the PS5 GT3 leagues a few seasons back. Video Gamer P13 has got some very solid pace here. We've seen it over the course of the practice tonight. But here we go then, up towards the line. We are about to go racing. Once we cross the line, we'll be underway. Here we go. Green, 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 up towards Copse Corner for the first time. Guitar Rich was a bit sleepy as they got going, and I Am Slow round the outside of Dimenta, and also Guitar Rich as well. I Am Slow, has he got the move done there on Guitar Rich? They're going to be side by side down towards Magus and Beckett's, as I'm watching in the background and keeping an eye on Pete Bibb, who seems to be trying to make progress here. But I Am Slow, he's up into second place there. Appenloo's trying to pull out a bit of a gap here, but looks like we're all pretty clean through Maggotts, Beckett's and Chapel for the first time. It's Appenloo ahead of I Am Slow at the moment, and the timing board does just take its time to actually update, but it always does this. So unfortunately, we're just going to have to wait a few seconds to kind of get the full bigger picture. But Appenloo from I Am Slow, Dimenta in 3rd ahead of Archie, followed by Spuzz, as it looks as though we've got Spuzz really piling the pressure on Archie here, coming through Stowe Corner for the first time, as we see Archie a little bit wide. Spuzz trying to capitalise. Is he going to look to send one into Vale? No, too far back at the moment. Tynus in the house already up into P6. He's had an electric first half a lap. Jazman is already behind Tynus in P7, but he's made up 2 positions nonetheless. Yellow Army down to 8. Video Gamer's made up 4 places up into 9th place. Pete Bibb down to P10. Senna, Nilsson and Guitar Rich. I didn't see what happened to him, to be honest with you. The cameraman was panning out probably as he had his incident, but he's down to P13 on this first lap, so that's really not gone to plan at all there for Guitar Rich. But it's Appenloo from I Am Slow, Dimenta, Archie. Spuzz there is making a move down the inside of Archie, I think, he's defending from Tynus, should I say. Tynus was looking to the outside, couldn't get the cut back there, and it's, for the time being, Spuzz is holding on to that P5. Jazman there, poised right behind them at the moment in 7th place, about a second back to Video Gamer. There's Senna, Yellow Army, Pete Bibb, Nilsson and Guitar Rich at the back, a long way off with that little moment which we didn't actually catch there. But it's currently Appenloo leading by just over a second. He's pulling out the gap here to I Am Slow, but I Am Slow getting the perfect start, getting 2 places from 4th into 2nd place. And John Jig will be, I'm sure, looking to, will be quite excited seeing that his tip for a podium currently running in 2nd place right now. Dimenta there in 3rd place. Archie got Spuzz all over him here as we're coming down the start finish straight. Oh, bit of contact there between the 2 of them. Spuzz is looking to the inside in towards Copse Corner, and Archie just about covers him off there. But I tell you what, there was a slight bit of door bang there between the 2 of them, and in fact Spuzz is going to lose out here to Jazman. Jazman, is he going to be able to make the move here on Archie? No, he tucks in for the time being, but Jazman getting ahead of Spuzz there, and Spuzz has now got Tynus really close on the back of him as well. But that was so close to tears there between Archie and Spuzz loses out of position, maybe just having a bit of a panic moment there as he came through Copse after that collision. They did well to recover each other there, but nonetheless Tynus is into 4th place. Jazman now in 5th place. You got Spuzz there in P6 ahead of Archie, so those 2 having a bit of a moment. But Spuzz and Archie there has got Video Gamer looking to his outside. Video Gamer's going to go for the cut back into Vale. Looks to the inside, a great little dummy there, but can't quite pull it off. And Archie, for the time being, where does that storm? Has he gone deep into Vale? Looks as though Video Gamer's going to try and get the run out of the corner through Club. Oh my god, very close racing there. Good driving, boys, as Video Gamer backs out of that one. Archie, for the time being, keeping on to P7. Appenloo leading by 2.5 seconds. He's got some exceptional pace here tonight at Silverstone, and will be looking to try and build this gap whilst Tynus and Jazman are behind these 2 of I Am Slow and Dimenta. But Dimenta's really putting the pressure on I Am Slow for this 2nd place. Tynus in the house. He's right on the back of them right now with Jazman there in 5th place. Spuzz has dropped off for these guys a little bit, a couple of seconds behind. You've got Archie there running in 7th place with Video Gamer looking to try and make hay here in the early stages of this race. Bit of a gap back to Senna and Yellow Army, who are battling out over 9th and 10th. You've got Pete Bibb there running in P11 with Nilsson in the background there. Has now got Guitar Rich ahead of him, so Guitar Rich is up into 12th place there ahead of Nilsson. So he's made up one position as Guitar Rich since his first lap woes, but it's Appenloo leading by 3.5 seconds, and he is continuing to pull out that gap at quite a rate here. 2 laps into this race, IMSO's pulled out a couple of tenths to Dimensa there. And what has happened to Tynus? Tynus has lost out here to Archie. He's lost out 3 places here. Jazman is into 4th. Tynus holds on the inside there ahead of Archie, so he keeps on to that one then. But Archie now coming under pressure from Video Gamer as well. Video Gamer a little bit too far back, coming into Magus and Beckett's. But yeah, Tynus in the house seemed to have just had a bit of a moment there. I don't know what happened to him exactly, but he was running between Dimensa and Jazman. Jazman's still on the back of Dimensa, batting it out over the final podium spots. These two are still right on the back of IMSO, and they're continuing to lose time to the race leader Appenloo, who is currently making that gap whilst he can, whilst he's got that clear track. He'll be conscious of the fact that Jazman is only about 6 seconds behind him at the moment, but crucially he's stuck behind Dimensa and IMSO and doesn't seem to be managing to exploit too many weak chinks in the armour. As I say that, Dimensa's gone deep coming through Vale. Jazman swoops around the outside. Can he complete the move? Dimensa's still there on the inside. Jazman ever so wide there coming out onto the international pit straight, but he gets the move done up into 3rd place. IMSO was also very wide coming out onto the straight as well. But Jazman's up into P3 here, so that's another position gained there for him onto the podium spots. As Spuzz and Tynus are having a good battle here. Tynus looking to the inside into a village. Spuzz leaves the door open. Can he go for the cut back here? I think Tynus is going to have that done there. Spuzz was looking to maybe set him up for a cutback, but couldn't execute it there. And Tynus job done there into P5. Spuzz though doesn't look like he's done just yet. The Porsche has got the slipstream. The Bentley and the Porsche relatively even. I think the Bentley's got slightly more grunt than the Porsche. The Porsche is looking to the inside there though. Spuzz looking to try and come back at Tynus. Tynus has got that covered though and keeps on to P5 there. Archie in the background with Video Gamer still behind him. Archie's done well to keep Video Gamer at bay over the last couple of the laps. IMSO has still got Jazman behind him, and these two, we saw them battling in the final race of the season last season at Bathurst. We saw them battling over the lead. IMSO managed to get the jump actually on Jazman off of the line and led the opening exchanges, led for about 15 or 20 minutes until Jazman was able to get past. So on that form, if IMSO was able to keep Jazman at bay for, say, you know, until maybe the midway point in the race. Oh, as I say that, IMSO's gone deep, coming through Magus and Beckett's. He's going to have to leave the door open here because Jazman's there, but IMSO's going to try and keep it around the outside, and it's going to be a drag race here down the Hangar Straight. IMSO, I think, might have managed to hold on to this because the Ferrari, I think, might have the legs on the Bentley. The Bentley, though, has got the inside line coming into Stowe Corner. They are going to be side by side all the way down the Hangar Straight. Jazman looks like he might have got this done. Can IMSO come back at him? Jazman gets it stopped, beautifully hooked up onto the apex there, coming through Stowe Corner. P2 there for Jazman. IMSO could do nothing about it. Maybe looking to make a feint into the Vale. No, too far back. Jazman a bit deep into Vale, but that is job done there for Jazman. Managed to keep his cool there. IMSO couldn't hold him back anymore. Dimensa only 4 tenths off of IMSO. This is the battle for the podium spots. Tynus is now right in this fight as well. In the background you've got Spuzz and Archie still fighting, still relatively in the picture at the moment in 6th and 7th places. Video Gamer a little way off in 8th with a mistake. We can see Senna there running just ahead of Yellow Army. In fact, what's going on? The Yellow Army is looking to the inside and towards Abbey. Couldn't make it happen. Cameraman taking a million years to catch up there. But right now Yellow Army's coming under pressure from Pete Bibb as well. Yellow Army going for a send it here on Senna though. Senna's going to keep it around the outside there. Senna manages to keep onto the position just about. Coming in towards the loop. He's going to have the inside, but he goes a bit deep coming through the loop. Yellow Army might be able to set him up for a cutback coming down the Wellington Straight, as here we come out onto the straight now. Oh, very wide from Yellow Army, and he might lose out here to Pete Bibb actually. Where's Pete Bibb in this picture here? Pete Bibb is just coming down the inside into Brooklands, and Pete Bibb there. Oh, Guitar Rich to make it 3 wide. Oh my god, where did he come from? Guitar Rich, can he make it 2 moves in 1 corner? Yes, he can. What a move there from Guitar Rich. Superb opportunism there from him, and he's up into P10, so he manages to pick off 2 drivers in 1 corner. Pete Bibb still behind Yellow Army. Great stuff from Guitar Rich, absolutely brilliant there from him. Yellow Army there losing out a little bit. Pete Bibb now looking to the outside there, trying to keep Nilsson behind him. This is a great little scrap here though for 9th place right now, and these guys really are giving it everything. You wouldn't think it's for the minor placings, so to speak, were they saying that? with the depleted grid, you know, you're still going to be scoring some very good points for these positions right now. But yeah, this is absolutely great to watch from these guys. Really am enjoying this battle so far. Keeping an eye on the gap at the front as well, because it's 8 seconds between Jazman, between Appenloo and Jazman. I'm going to see if it's coming down over the next few laps. Guitar Rich, though, in the meantime, looking to get out of the place. Oh, he's on the grass as he was trying to look to the inside of Senna. Now he's going to be vulnerable to Yellow Army, who's looking to go around the outside of Stowe Corner. That will become the inside for Vale, as I think Yellow Army's completed that one up into P10. Has he? Yes, he has. Yellow Army up in position. Great stuff there from him. Guitar Rich there, just with going for the move on Senna, was looking to the inside into Stowe and just got a wheel on the grass and just cost him a little bit of momentum there. And unfortunately for him, lost out there to Yellow Army. Yellow Army up into P10. Pete Bibb there just behind, with Nielsen still right there in this battle. Going to just jump into the battle for the podium spots, because I Am Stowe is still, in fact, he's lost out. I Am Stowe has lost out to Tynus, and he's got Archie on the back of him, so I Am Stowe has lost quite a few places here. Has he? Well, he's only lost actually one place by the looks of it, but he has dropped off by a few seconds to Tynus. Archie is going to come around up into 4th place, and Video Gamer's going to move up into 5th. So I wonder if I Am Stowe's got a bit of damage. Maybe he's going to have to come in at the end of this lap to fix that, because it seems like it's crabbing ever so slightly at the moment. Let's keep an eye on him, see if he comes in this lap, because he seems to be really struggling. Oh no, he is staying out. So obviously there's no mandatory pit window here, so I don't quite know exactly what's going on there, but he's not moving. He's not going very quickly at the moment. He seems to be just cruising at this point. So a very, very unusual situation there for him. Nonetheless, let's go back to the battle for P10, because Yellow Army, Guitar Rich, Pete Bibb and Nielsen are still very close at the moment. But it's currently Yellow Army still occupying that P10. Senna's just gapped these guys a little bit. Senna's closed up onto the back of Dimenta. What's happened to Dimenta? Dimenta's dropped back a bit here as well, as he is now 3.5 seconds behind Spaz. So Dimenta running in 8th place has got Senna crawling up onto the back of him. These are obviously the battle that we were watching before, from 9th place all the way down to 13th. It's now 8th place, but in fact Dimenta has made the move on I Am Stowe. I Am Stowe still really struggling, dropping back by quite a bit right now in 8th place at the moment. He's quite a long way off for the lead as well. I'm not quite sure what's happened to I Am Stowe, but he has really fallen off over the last few laps. Right, in fact, Yellow Army's closed up onto the back of Senna a little bit as well over the course of this lap. So Senna had gapped this train behind him. It's now come down a little bit. It's now under a second between Senna and Yellow Army, with Guitar Rich, Nielsen right on with them as well. Pete Bibb's dropped off for these guys. I don't know if he's got a bit of damage, or maybe he's made a mistake, but Pete Bibb is now 4 seconds behind this battle as well. So not sure what's gone on there. We didn't catch that on the stream, didn't see what happened. But Dimenta has got just under a second. I think I Am Stowe is now stabilised at this point. It looks like he's now, whatever issues he was having, I don't know if he was having to text someone or check something on his phone, or maybe having a conversation with someone in the background, or what it was, but whatever the issue was, it's now subsided, and he is now off and going once again. So that's obviously good to see, and hopefully he has no more issues over the course of tonight. Could have been a wheel issue, could have been a pad. No, actually no, he doesn't have a wheel. He races on the pad. So I can't think what it could have been. Maybe something was going on in the background that he had to deal with. I'm not sure, but nonetheless, he seems to have got it back together now. We're seeing his pace is now back to what it was, as he's now pulling out the gap to Senna once again, and can now try and close up onto Dimenta once again. Gap at the front between Appenloo and Jazman is coming down a little bit by bit, but it's not coming down. Well, actually it's 6 seconds now. Jazman just clawed back quite a bit of time there on Appenloo's. It was about 7.5 seconds a few laps ago, but it's come down by quite a lot. Tynus there is running in 3rd place in the final podium spot. He's 2.8 seconds behind Jazman at the moment. He's 9 seconds off for the leader, Appenloo. You got Archie there running 15 seconds off for the lead. He's 5 seconds ahead of Video Gamer at the moment. Spuz there running in P6, the reigning champ of this Wednesday GT3 league. Dimenta there running in P7 has got a second back to I Am Stowe. Senna there running in 9th place has got Yellow Army still hassling him, as this battle for 9th place still rages on. Great stuff from these guys. They've gapped Nielsen a little bit running in P12. Pete Bibb's gained a little bit on Nielsen, has gained about half a second over the course of this lap, but this battle is really where it's at the moment. This is the most exciting scrap out on track. And it's currently Senna still heading this train of cars as they come through Abbey for the 7th time here in this race. Appenloo still leading the race, obviously took pole position in the qualifying session. Jazman has come from 9th place up into 2nd so far in this race. He's continuing to make seamless progress. We're currently watching this battle for 9th place at the moment though. I'm Slow is keeping the gap at around 1.2 to Dimenta, but he's gapping these guys here, Senna, Yellow Army and Guitar Rich. Nilsson's now going back on, but gained back on Guitar Rich a little bit. The gap's now under a second between Guitar Rich and Nilsson. Always we can see Guitar Rich eyeing up a move here on Yellow Army into Brooklands. Can't quite make it happen there, a little bit too far back. Yellow Army was just a little bit squirty there coming into Luffield. Guitar Rich might sense an opportunity here. They're going to be side by side. Guitar Rich just poking his nose in there, and I think the Lexus might just have the legs here on the Mercedes coming up through Woodcote. That is job done there for Guitar Rich up into P10. Can Yellow Army use the slipstream and come back at him coming into Copse Corner as he's having a look? I think Guitar Rich is surely going to have that done there coming through Copse. Yes, he does there, and he's almost gone a bit wide, ever so wide in fact there from Guitar Rich. Yellow Army looking to the outside. Guitar Rich has got him covered there into Maggots and Beckett's. Senna and Dimenta still half a second between those two in P8 and P9. The gap is down to 3.8 between Appenloo and Jazman. Jazman is carving that gap down at a massive rate. Tynus he's not losing too much time to Jazman at this point. The gap's gone up by 0.2, so Tynus is almost matching Jazman as well. So Jazman and Tynus coming for Appenloo, who's been leading this race since the start, but that lead could be about to diminish very, very shortly because Jazman, you can see, is looming larger and larger in the background there. Tynus there in 3rd place. Archie still going in P4 with 4 seconds ahead of Video Gamer at the moment. Spuzz in P6. I am Slow in P7 as Nilsson is the first driver to pit here in this race as he's just coming out of the pit lane now, so that is now his mandatory pit stop done and out of the way. Senna and Dimenta just under a second between those two, but the battle still raging on between Senna, Dimenta, Guitar Rich and Yellow Army. And you can see these guys still in pretty close proximity. Yellow Army's actually dropped off of these guys a little bit over the course of this lap, so not quite sure what's happened there, but he has lost a little bit of time there to these guys in front of him. There's Appenloo, the race leader. There is Jazman. Gap came down another 0.3 in the final sector. I think Appenloo's been making a few mistakes. Maybe the pressure is starting to get to him a little bit, being out in front. You can see that Jazman's reeling him in. I think he just needs to calm down. He probably needs to resort to trying to defend from him, because I don't think he's going to be able to match him on outright pace. Appenloo's tactic in this situation, I think, needs to just defend for all you've got. Sometimes in motor racing you need to be over a second, a lap quicker in order to get ahead of somebody. So if Appenloo can somewhat be some kind of a match to Jazman, he might be able to keep him behind just by parking his car in the right places, by hugging the apexes and just making himself a nuisance for Jazman. But you can see the gap is visibly coming down. It's not just on the timing board. You can actually see how much Jazman is reeling him in through every corner. Right now that gap looks like it's already under 2 seconds. It was 2.1 at the last checkpoint. We'll keep an eye on this, but right now Appenloo is going to definitely be, I think, feeling the pressure as Jazman looms larger in his rear view mirror. As you can see there, they're on the same page now pretty much. That gap is not much more than a second. I would say 1.3, 1.4 we're going to see as they come through the middle sector checkpoint here, coming onto the Wellington straight. But 1.4, yeah, that's the gap between Appenloo and Jazman right now. Jazman is coming at Appenloo at a massive rate. Tynus is falling off at the back of Jazman, so Jazman are currently setting some blistering lap times here. Again, strategy could come into this as well, because we don't know what strategy Jazman's gone with. He could have maybe half tanked it to give himself a bit more pace. Appenloo could maybe start to match him in the second half if he's full tanked it. We don't know what the strategy is at this point, so you know, Appenloo could have something could have something left, could have a chance to maybe come back at Jazman, but he just needs to keep Jazman behind him, and that is easier said than done at this point, because Jazman is currently on a mission. As we look back, we've got these guys here, Senna and Guitar Rich, have closed onto the back of Dimenta now. So now this has become a three-way battle for 8th place. They've pulled away a bit from Yellow Army and Pete Bibb. Nilsson has obviously come into the pits to make his pit stop, so he's a little way off of them at the moment. But obviously once these guys come in, that will change. Yeah, let's keep an eye on this battle here, because this is for the lead. This is where it's currently at the moment, and Appenloo and Jazman separate by 1.1. Appenloo seems to have picked up the pace a little bit over the course of this lap so far, because the gap was 1.1 over the start finish line to start the lap, and it stayed at the same throughout the first sector. But this is the part of the track where the Bentley probably has got the legs over the McLaren. The McLaren of Appenloo at the moment, though, currently sitting pretty in the lead of the race. For how much longer is he going to be in this position, though? Again, we don't know what the strategy is for these guys, so that could play a factor over the course of this race. We just don't know how it's going to all slot in, as Senna has dropped a bit of time to Dimenta, and in fact Guitar Rich is looking to the inside into Stowe corner, but he can't make it happen there. But Senna's dropped off by nearly 2 seconds off of the back of Dimenta. Guitar Rich looking to the outside into Vale chicane. Can he keep it around the outside? No, Senna's going to cover him off there for the time being. But this is a great little scrap here for 9th place, but Dimenta, sitting pretty now in 8th place, has managed to pull out the gap a little bit to these guys. Yellow Army running about 3 seconds behind him. Has got Pete Bibb closing in on him. Pete Bibb's gained quite a bit on Yellow Army over the course of this lap. But Senna and Guitar Rich still as they were, running in 9th and 10th right now. The gap under a second here out the front. But I tell you what, Appenloo's really picked up the pace since Jazman arrived on his rear end about a lap or so ago. So maybe the nerves starting to settle a little bit now. Now he kind of knows he's been drawn into the battle. You know, there's no getting away from this battle. He's maybe just getting that sort of that fight response, and there's no flight. Well, technically it's kind of like a fight and a flight response in a way, because you're taking flight for the fight essentially. But at the moment Jazman isn't gaining as much on Appenloo as he was. I'm just going to pull up. Oh, as I say that, he has gained massively coming to the first sector. Appenloo had a bit of a slide coming through Chapel. Now we're going to see Jazman looking to the inside. Now Appenloo's going to send him around the outside there. Bit of a late defensive move there. Jazman is going to have to send this around the outside of Stowe corner. Appenloo's surely going to squeeze him out. He'll be entitled to. He's got the racing line, but Jazman there keeps it all the way around the outside. Great stuff there from Jazman. Appenloo's still on the outside in towards Vale. Jazman's going to have to leave him the space on the outside. Jazman though keeps it there for the inside, and Jazman swoops through up into the lead here. Great stuff there from Jazman. He set Appenloo up around the outside into Stowe corner. I think Appenloo probably should have tried to squeeze him out, because he was slightly ahead, so he would have been within the rules to do so, but he just gave Jazman the space. Was a little bit too courteous in my opinion. Gave Jazman far too much respect there. I mean, obviously Jazman, it's all due, the respect is all due to Jazman. He's a 3-time champion, but I think Appenloo made that a bit too easy for Jazman, if I'm honest with you. I think he could have just run him wide, you know, he could have squeezed him, but he gave him all the space in the world. And Jazman now leading this race here as we're coming up towards the halfway point. We're just over a third of the way into the race at the moment. Tynus has gained a bit on these guys whilst they've been battling. He's only 3 seconds off for the lead. The question is, does he have the pace of Jazman? I know that these two are usually quite even in terms of race pace, so it's going to be an interesting one. Senna and Guitar Rich, are they still battling? Yes, they are. They're still going at it for 9th and 10th places right now. You've got Pete Bibb there still on the back of Yellow Army as they're battling out over 11th and 12th. Haraki saying, great move Jazman, the truck passes the Mini. Yeah, he's putting out the gap now, is Jazman. He seems to be quite comfortable there in that position. He's enjoying himself. He's got clear track. He's back. It's normal service resume for Jazman. You know, this is what he's used to. This is what he's accustomed to seeing on a regular basis. And lap 12 of this race, he's hunted down Appenloo. He's got what he needs, and he can now just enjoy himself. But Appenloo, I don't think he's going to let him off the hook completely here. He's still keeping tabs with him at the moment. But Appenloo's going to have to watch out for Tynus, because Tynus is reeling him in quite quickly here. The gap's 3 seconds at the moment, so it's not come down in the first sector. But Tynus 4 seconds off for the lead as well. Certainly not out of the picture for the race win here. And I'm just going to pull up the graphic. I was actually going to do this just before the battle between Jazman and Appenloo began in earnest. I was going to pull this up just so I could see what the fastest laps were. So Tynus, a 58 dead fastest. The last one was a 58.9. Appenloo, 58.4 fastest, but the last one was a little bit off. So actually Appenloo is only about sort of a few tenths off of the ultimate pace here being set by Jazman, only about half a second off of the ultimate pace, so he's pretty close to him in terms of overall potential around the Silverstone circuit. Jazman's fastest lap is a couple of tenths quicker than Tynus, but last lap Tynus was quicker than Jazman, so I certainly don't think that Tynus is out of the battle for this win, but saying that, he has lost a few tenths to Jazman so far on this lap. The gap already only 2 seconds between Jazman and Appenloo, but Tynus continuing to just chip away at the gap to Appenloo at this point. Obviously all these guys still need to come into the pits. Only Nilsson has been in for his mandatory pit stop so far. Everybody else needs to come in at some point. As and when they make it is entirely up to them though. There's no constraints on when they have to make it. Oh, Guitar Rich goes wide just with flicking to him there with the battle, and the gap still close between Senna and Guitar Rich. Guitar Rich has gone wide. I don't know if he's got a bit of damage maybe. He seems to be struggling ever so slightly. Maybe the tyres starting to go off a little bit. All the drivers are going to now be starting to struggling with a little bit of graining on their tyres. That tends to happen after about 10-15 laps here on ACC. You tend to find a little bit of a drop off in performance, but as the fuel drops you also get a faster car, so to speak. So obviously you've got less grip but a faster car, so you know it does balance out, so to speak, in some ways. Right now Tynus has gained a couple of tenths on Appenloo, but he isn't really gaining massive amounts on him at the moment. It's just a little bit by bit. You know, he's quicker, but he's not much quicker. Dimenta coming into the pits at the end of lap 12, so that's him getting his pit stop done out of the way, and somebody else is coming in just behind him. That is Yellow Army there also coming in, so that's Dimenta and Yellow Army here at the end of lap 12 coming into the pits to make their pit stops. Jazman still leads the race by just over 2 seconds right now ahead of Appenloo. You've got Tynus there still going P3 in the background, still closing in, and in fact that gap looks like it's under 3 seconds to me between Appenloo and Tynus, so Tynus is still chipping away at that gap. As we can see, Nilsson there moving well out of the way for the leaders, very courteous there, sees them coming around. Jazman, Appenloo and Tynus up through into some clean air ahead of Nilsson, so Nilsson there being very aware of his surroundings, and that's good to see. Obviously veteran here in Motive, Nilsson, and always supports us, always says hi, and is raced with us every season, very loyal, very faithful to Motive, and we couldn't appreciate it any more. But right now Jazman leads by 4 seconds. He's pulled out a bit of a gap here. Tynus has got a gap down to 2 seconds here to Appenloo, so he is continuing to really make gains here. He's not just chipping away anymore. That was a massive gain. He gained a second coming through the middle sector, so Tynus has definitely got the momentum here right now on Appenloo. But we're coming around to complete lap 13 of the race. Jazman still doing the business, 4.4 the gap, and Tynus is only 1.6 behind Appenloo, but Tynus is losing time to Jazman at the moment. Jazman, I think, has just put the hammer down and has fully started to send it here. I am So's on the back of Spuzz, these two 7/10 of a second apart as they're coming into Brooklands. But I am So tonight repping Lightblade's number, actually, then 777, driving in the Ferrari. I am So likes to switch it up, doesn't always like to drive the same car. He likes to go for a different car, so he's not actually a regular driver. He is a reserve driver for this season, so he doesn't score points. He's not eligible for the championship standings or anything like that. He literally just switches his car up each week, depending on what he fancies. You know, he runs the risk of not having a seat guaranteed, but then again, there's always one or two people that can't make it, and he usually puts his request in quite early, so it's very unlikely that he wouldn't get to drive if he wanted to. Jazman's still out in front, still got just over 4.5 seconds of a gap here at the moment over Appenloo. Gap down to 1.6 between Appenloo and Tynus, and it's continuing to come down as we go on. Video Game is up into 4th place in this race. Obviously he had to come from the back as well, got involved in a few hairy moments, but yeah, he's done a good job here. He's pulled out a 7-second gap here to Spuzz. Spuzz has still got I Am So all over him coming into Vale. Senna and Guitar Rich also still quite close at the moment. These two have been battling it out for the entire race so far. It's been great to watch between these two. We're going to stick with the battle between Spuzz and I Am So for the time being though. So we're coming up in this race with 14 laps into this race, and I Am So is now trying to really put the pressure on Spuzz. Spuzz defending to the inside, coming into Village. Can I Am So get the cut back? Maybe. Oh, he's looking. Spuzz has that covered for the time being though. Oh, Spuzz has gone deep, very deep, coming into Aintree. Through the loop they come. I think this might be an opportunity here. The Ferrari's got incredible straight line speed compared to the Porsche, and Spuz is going to defend the inside coming into Brooklyn's. So it's going to try and go around the outside here. Spuz, I think, just has it covered again. But IMSO's really putting it up Spuz right now. I tell you what, if IMSO can get a good run coming through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, get a good exit coming out onto the hangar straight, it's going to be a golden opportunity for him. He might even have a chance coming down the start-finish straight. No, he's not. He's into the pits. So that potential is gone, because IMSO is coming in to make his mandatory pit stop here at the end of lap 14. It is lap 14 he comes in. As Tynus in the house is also in, and in fact, oh, he stopped. No, yes, he's already been in. A very smooth pit stop indeed there from Tynus. So he's not changing tyres. He's obviously full tanked it, so he hasn't needed to put any fuel in. Again, we don't know what Jazman's doing in terms of his fuel tank, neither App and Lou. So these guys at the moment, it's a bit of a mystery as to what they're doing in terms of the strategy. As we've just got a lap car there, Yellow Army moving well out of the way for App and Lou. So fair play to Yellow Army, sees them coming there. Raki there saying steady, consistent drivers tonight. Yeah, it's been very tidy indeed. I'm very impressed with the driving standards indeed. It's been such clean racing. I haven't seen any collisions or anything. I haven't seen anyone overstepping the mark. There's not been any crashes from what I've seen. There's been a few drivers losing it by themselves, putting it on the grass, but yeah, it's been really great tonight. I really am impressed. Jazman leading the race by 7 seconds right now over App and Lou. App and Lou's just put a lap there on Yellow Army. You can see just behind him Guitar Rich is in the pits, so that temporarily brings to a halt the battle between him and Senna for the time being, but obviously that will probably be rekindling that battle once Senna comes in to make his pit stop. Jazman, the race leader, is into the pits at the halfway mark in the race. Now we find out what Jazman's strategy is. Is he going to change tyres maybe? I'll tell you what, if Jazman changes tyres, it could be quite exciting, because I don't think Tynus did. So maybe if Jazman doesn't change tyres, or sorry, if he does change tyres, they'll be on a split strategy, which will maybe mean that Tynus will lead the race for a bit. We could be seeing Jazman hunting Tynus down at the end. Let's see what Jazman does in the pit box. Tynus is coming through Brooklands now, so he's in the final sector. Jazman has been in that pit box for a little while. He is changing tyres, I'm pretty sure. It looks like he's definitely changing tyres. App and Lou and Video Gamer, second and third places, both into the pits here at the end of this lap. So they're all coming in on the same lap. Jazman, App and Lou and Video Gamer. Where's Tynus? Tynus is going to come around and take the lead. And Jazman's still in his pit box, so Tynus in the house will lead the race for now. He's obviously on worn out tyres. We have to remember, Tynus in the house has been on these tyres since the beginning. Jazman has got a fresh set of boots on, which will take him to the end of this race. He'll have much better grip than Tynus, but Tynus obviously has track position and has quite a sizable lead at this point. As we're just going to try and, well, we'll get the sector times up in a minute, which will tell us exactly what the gap is between them. But there is Tynus right now. He's just coming down towards Stowe Corner. So there he is. There is Jazman. So the gap to me looks like it's about 8 seconds. It's 6. Oh, it's 6.6 between Tynus and Jazman. So actually, the gap isn't much. So if Jazman can make his these fresh tyres work for him quickly, he could be on the back of Tynus very, very soon indeed. I mean, all he needs to do is lap about half a second a lap quicker than Tynus, and he should be on the back of him well before the end of the race. As Video Gamer has got a stop-go penalty for speeding in the pits, I would imagine. He is unfortunately sped in the pits, so in fact he's binned it. Video Gamer's in the wall. What has happened? I think he's retiring. Is he retiring from the race? Be a shame if he's retiring from the race. Keep going, man, keep going. Oh, he's left the session. So a bit of rage quit there from Video Gamer because he got a stop-go penalty. And we see at the moment we've got Archie battling it out with Senna. Archie's got ahead of Senna up into P7. Where's Guitar Rich in all of this? Because Guitar Rich was having a great battle with Senna earlier. I would assume Senna's not put. Senna must have not changed tyres. He's miles ahead of Guitar Rich. What's going on? Unless Guitar Rich half tanked it. Potentially he could have half tanked it, but the gap's enormous. It's 31 seconds now between Senna and Guitar Rich, so I really don't know what's happened there, but Guitar Rich has had what appears to be a bit of a nightmare in the pit stops. But Senna's still right now on the back of Archie. So Senna's actually brought himself into this battle here. A treat there, but I think Senna might be on worn tyres. I don't think he's changed. Well, he definitely hasn't changed tyres. I think Archie has, so that might be why we see Archie pulling away from Senna quite quickly here. It seems like he's got a lot more grip and confidence at this point. Spaz currently leading this race though, as we're on lap 17 of the race. He's still got a pit. The net race leader is Tynus, and net second place is Jazman. Currently third in this race is Appenlu. We believe Appenlu's been into the pits for tyres. Also Jazman has as well. So Jazman and Appenlu separated by 12 seconds. But obviously Appenlu on fresh tyres. Tynus the only one of these three in second, third and fourth who have already pitted, by the way, whereas Spaz hasn't. But these three are in net 1, 2 and 3, and Tynus is the only one who hasn't got fresh tyres on. So he has stayed out on the same tyres, and his grip will be diminishing at quite a rate. Jazman on fresh boots is really chasing after him quite quickly here. I think that Jazman will probably catch up to Tynus quite a long way before the end of this race. Tynus is closing in on Spaz. Spaz still yet to pit here in this race to keep an eye on the gap. Jazman just brought it down by another half a second there, coming through the first sector, so he's on a mission at the moment, and I don't think much is going to stop Jazman from taking the win tonight. Tynus is currently with track position, but with the tyre situation, I think that Jazman should be able to handle him. Tynus is going to have to park his car in all the right places once Jazman arrives on the back of him. Could be an interesting fight, you know. I certainly wouldn't count out the possibility of Tynus keeping Jazman at bay, but yeah, it's definitely going to be an exciting scrap here between these guys. There's JR there in the comments waving to Raki, saying hello there. Good to see JR in the comments, the CEO of Run DJC team. I'm in their Discord server. I kind of like get a little glimpse into life at the Run DJC camp. The guys started out on PlayStation. A few of them are now on PC nowadays, but they still chime in and support their guys who are left on PlayStation, and obviously it's always good to see some of the guys who have moved on to pastures new still remembering their roots. Pete Bibdo into the pits here, so he is the second to last driver to come in and make his mandatory pit stop. Obviously Spaz still needs to come in at some point. Tynus has got the gap down to 4 seconds to Spaz. Jazman though has gained another second on Tynus on that last lap, so he is flying. And I can't see much stopping Jazman from taking this win. He is really gaining on Tynus very quickly at the moment. I don't think Tynus is going to have much defence once Jazman arrives on the back of him. Pete Bibb has done his pit stop. He's now out of the pit lane and back out onto the track once again. Spaz currently leads this race, but he's still got to pit. Once he does, I reckon he'll come out around P6, most likely, probably in between I Am Slow and Archie, I would imagine. But we're not sure at the moment. I reckon probably around P6, maybe P7, but we shall see. Tynus closing on Spaz, Jazman closing on Tynus. These guys are all concertinaing up. Appenlu's dropping off at the back of Tynus and Jazman a bit now. Obviously led the opening laps, taking pole position, and looks set for a very creditable podium as it stands on his debut here. But here comes Spaz into the pits nonetheless here at the end of lap 19. So Tynus in the house will take the race lead then. But Jazman is absolutely flying in second place, and I can't see much holding him back here. Tynus, I think, gambled on the strategy, thought why not just stay out on the same tyres, try something different. But it doesn't really appear to be working at the moment. The tyres seem to be absolutely no match for Jazman's at all. And Jazman's pace around Silverstone as well is insane. I mean, I've seen him around here before. He's raced at this track before. I've seen him in the PS5 GT3 League. I think I've seen him in the PS4s as well. Last time, you know what? Last time Jazman raced here in the PS4 League, oh my God. It was probably the worst race I've ever seen him drive. I was actually racing in that race. I mean, I can't talk because I was absolute. But Jazman had like a nightmare of a race. It was a changeable wet race, and I think he ended up P5 in the end. But yeah, he had a really difficult race. He had a couple of spins. He got damage. I think he ended up having to come in for another pit stop or something. Jonjic was the star of the show that night. He absolutely blitzed it. I just remember him winning by about 40 odd seconds in the end. It was an unbelievable drive from Jonjic. But yeah, Jazman had a complete nightmare that night, by his usual standards anyway. He's now within a second of Tynus, so Tynus is going to be quite vulnerable at this point. I think it's just Tynus have the know-how? Does he have the nous to keep Jazman behind him? You know, Jazman's probably about a second and a half a lap quicker at this point. Having said that, if you're very good at defending and you don't make many mistakes, then you can feasibly keep someone behind when they're a second and a half a lap quicker than you. When they're sort of like 2.5 seconds, it's a different story. But a second and a half, you might be able to keep. You might just about be able to hold someone off, as long as you're perfect with your racing lines and as long as you're very, very technical. You might have a chance of being able to keep them at bay. But you can see just how close Jazman is at the moment. Half a second currently separating Tynus and Jazman. Tynus on the same tyres he started the race on. Jazman obviously came in for a fresh set of boots in his pit stop. Tynus opting to stay out and do the whole race on one set of tyres. Jazman has got the run now coming down the hanger straight, but Tynus has got the slipstream off of a back marker who's just in front of them. I think it's Nilsson there. No, it's not Nilsson, but Jazman looking into Stowe, can't make it happen. It was, I think, Yellow Army actually. It was Yellow Army just behind them. Yeah, it was Yellow Army. So they've now put a lap on Yellow Army. He let them through coming down the hanger straight. Jazman looking to the inside into Vale as Tynus goes late on the brakes and keeps it around the outside. Jazman really throwing the kitchen sink at Tynus, but Tynus currently answering his every question at the moment that Jazman is asking him, and he's got an answer to currently every little challenge, every loophole that Jazman's trying to throw at him. Little feint to the inside from Jazman into Avi, but Tynus in the house, not bowing to the pressure, and this is the battle that I think we all wanted to see. This is what we all were excited for. This is what certainly I was looking forward to when I saw that these two would both be racing in the PS4 GT3 League this season at Motive. This is what I think everybody was hoping for. We'd see a Jazman really challenged. We know that these two have got a bit of a history, but Jazman's got the run coming down the Wellington straight, and Tynus is going to have to defend it. He can't come across because Jazman's on his inside. He's going to have to try and hold it around the outside here. Jazman dives down the inside into Brooklands as Tynus is keeping it around the outside and might be able to go back down the inside for Luffield. Jazman keeping it around the outside though, and he's going to go all the way around the long way of Luffield. Jazman on the curb, but gets the move done brilliantly. Tynus though has got the slipstream coming down the pit straight and might be able to come back at him into Copse corner. Has Jazman completed the move, or is Tynus going to throw one back into Copse? No, he's too far back, and it would have been a bit of a dangerous manoeuvre anyway. So Jazman, I think, has now got the lead. Question is, has Tynus got anything left in his tyres to mount a challenge at Jazman? I don't think he's going to be able to, if I'm honest. Jazman is on much fresher tyres than Tynus at this point, and I think he's just going to ride off into the sunset and pull away with this one. I can't see Tynus offering too much to Jazman at this point. To be honest, I think Jazman, unless he makes a mistake now, I think this is going to be winning the bag pretty much for a three-time champion here at Motive, former champion of this league, obviously reigning champion at the Sprint League on a Sunday, and also the PS5 champion as well in the one season that we did on the PS5 version of ACC. So this man with the pedigree, with the credentials, with a bucket load of talent, and he's currently got the ascendancy here. Tynus isn't letting him completely disappear though, but saying that, I think Jazman's got the measure of him here so far, as Appenloo running 15 seconds behind these guys, currently running in third place, best of the rest here in this one after starting on pole position. But these two in the race have been an absolute force, and especially Jazman, who now hits the front, leading this race as we're approaching the closing stages here at Silverstone for the first round of the Wednesday GT3 League here on the PS4. Spud's currently on the back of Senna as they're coming down the hanger straight. As he's looking here, he's got the closing speed. He's now going to look to the outside. As Senna covers that inside line coming through Stowe corner. Can Spars get the cut back here? Coming down towards Vale. Senna defends the inside line once again. Here goes Spars looking to go for the gap, but Senna covers that inside line, hugging the apex there, coming through Vale chicane. Spars can't make anything happen there, can't go for the gap, can't exploit the space. Although having said that, Senna's gone a bit wide there coming into club corner. Once again keeps it around the outside. Brilliant stuff there from Senna. very alert and alive to what Spuz is trying to do there. Spuz throwing a little feint to the inside into Abbey, but Senna's got that covered for the time being then. But these two really putting on a good show here for 6th and 7th place. Dimentor and Guitar Rich are right on the back of Pete Bibb as well, as these guys are battling over 8th, 9th and 10th. I think Guitar Rich came in for tyres, but he is struggling at this point in the race. I don't know really what's going on with him, but he's not really doing what he was doing earlier on. Pete Bibb, though, running in 8th place, has made up some ground in the pit window, that's for sure. But yeah, currently these guys are having a good little scrap for 8th place. Senna and Spuz still going at it here for 6th and 7th, though. Spuz all over Senna as they're coming through Luffield. Can he get the exit here that he needs? Senna obviously driving in the McLaren. The McLaren is a bit quicker in a straight line than the Porsche is of Spuz. So Spuz will be looking to try and get good traction here and put Senna under pressure coming through the slower corners. That's going to be, I think, his best opportunity to try and make a move. The McLaren can be a little bit unpredictable through the slower corners, so that might be his good chance. So corners like Luffield, maybe Vale as well, possibly, Village, Aintree, these might be the places that Spuz is going to look to try and capitalise. But coming down the Hanger Straight, obviously Senna's got the straight line speed here, so Spuz not really able to make much happen despite only being 2 tenths behind him as they came out onto the straight. Pete Bibb still running in 8th place right now. Has got Dimentor and Guitar Rich pretty close behind him. But we've got 15 minutes left to go here in this race for the Wednesday GT3 League tonight here on the PS4 Motive. Season 11 here on ACC. Guitar Rich having a little look to the inside of Dimentor coming into Stowe. Not close enough at the moment. But Dimentor was a bit deep there coming through Vale, but Guitar Rich not close enough. Oh, Dimentor really wide there. Guitar Rich might fancy a chance. Oh, he's running wide at every corner right now. Dimentor just can't get into a rhythm. Guitar Rich not close enough coming into Abbey though. Keeping an eye on the battle between Spuz and Senna. Spuz has gapped Senna by a little bit. Not much. The gap's still under a second clearly, but Spuz has just opened up a little bit more of a cushion here over Senna. Pete Bibb, Dimentor and Guitar Rich still going at it. Second currently blankets these three guys. Dimentor just weaving around a bit, trying to break the toe on Guitar Rich, maybe trying to put Pete Bibb under a little bit of pressure. Guitar Rich closing speed there, went late on the brakes and went a bit deep coming through Brooklands, which has just cost him momentum coming into Luffield. But Dimentor stuck behind Pete Bibb, keeping Guitar Rich in this picture very much so, coming through Luffield. And Guitar Rich might have to run here actually, coming down the start-finish straight. Lamborghini and Lexus quite even. I'd say probably the Lexus has got a little bit more, but the Lambo's got the slipstream off of the Ferrari in front of him with Pete Bibb. And in fact Pete Bibb a little bit wide coming through Cops, but Dimentor's not close enough to make anything happen there coming into Maggots. So Senna's just dropped off at the back of Spuz a little bit. That's now 2 seconds separating those two. Dimentor's going to go for the move here on Pete Bibb into Stowe. Pete Bibb a little bit wide. Dimentor gets that done. Up into P8 there. Beautifully done there from him. And Pete Bibb might lose out here to Guitar Rich. Guitar Rich is going to swoop around the outside into Vale. That's job done there for him. And unfortunately for Pete Bibb, he loses 2 places in the space of a few hundred metres there. Pete Bibb down to 10th place in that exchange. But Guitar Rich might be trying to put the pressure on Dimentor here for 8th place now. Are these guys going to pull away from Pete Bibb, or is Pete Bibb going to keep them on their toes and keep them honest here in the final few laps of this race? Oh, Dimentor ever so wide there as they came through Village. Guitar Rich closes right up onto him here. If he can get a good run out of the loop, he might stand a chance coming down the Wellington straight. I tell you what, Dimensa was crabbing there as they got onto the throttle. Here they come. Guitarich might sense an opportunity here. He's going to have massive closing speed there. You can see how much he's gaining on him. He's going to pull out to the inside now. Guitarich sensing a move here. Is he going to send one into Brooklands? Not quite. Dimensa keeps it around the outside there and keeping himself in a good position. Guitarich though might try and go for the cutback here out of Luffield. Right on his rear end here. Dimensa just about has that covered. Guitarich though looking to the inside, not really got the top end as they're coming into Cobb's corner once again. Jazman still out in front, still doing the business. He's pulled out a 6.5 second lead to Tynus in the house. Gap between Tynus and Appenloo is 11.5 seconds. Appenloo is on fresh tyres. Obviously Tynus is on the same tyres he started the race on, so I wonder if Appenloo could be maybe sensing a chance of nabbing a P2 here. That was actually the positions they were in before the pit stops, before the pit window. It was actually Jazman had taken the lead off of Appenloo, and Tynus was the one running in third. The only reason that Tynus ended up in the lead was because he didn't change tyres. So at the moment, Appenloo with fresh tyres will have the momentum in the final sort of 6 laps of this race. The gap's 11 seconds though, so Appenloo would need to go pretty much 2 seconds a lap quicker than Tynus in the final part of this race. And maybe that's just a bit of a stretch here at this point. Guitarich and Pete Bibb still right on the back of Dimensa as this three-way battle for 8th place continues. So here come these three down the Wellington straight once again, all a little bit too far back on each other to make anything happen just at the moment. Jazman's extending the gap to 7.3 to Tynus, but the gap's not really coming down between Tynus and Appenloo at the moment. It's staying at around 11 seconds, so I think Tynus has probably got that one in the bag for P2. Gap continuing to extend between Jazman and Tynus at the moment. Tynus is just coming up towards Nilsson, so we're putting a lap on Nilsson pretty surely. So yeah, the gap at the moment staying at 11 seconds between Tynus and Appenloo, so I think Tynus should have that covered barring any incidents or mistakes, or if his tyres hit the cliff at the end. But Guitarich has got ahead of Dimensa here, noticing that one. So Guitarich is up into P8. Dimensa's still got Pete Bibb really close on him as they're coming down the hangar straight. But Dimensa, I think, just a little bit too far ahead of Pete Bibb for Pete Bibb to be thinking about sending one. But Dimensa's still sticking on the back of Guitarich at the moment as he goes a bit wide there coming through Stowe Corner. But just giving Guitarich just a little bit of breathing space there in P8. Not really too many other battles going on at the moment. This is kind of the only scrap out on track, these three guys, but Guitarich and Dimensa have just pulled out a bit to Pete Bibb. In fact, Guitarich just pulled out a bit to Dimensa, and actually Dimensa now dropping back into the clutches of Pete Bibb as I say that. But race is starting to settle down now. Everybody's kind of just found, I think, their place on this classification. And right now there doesn't seem to be too much action going on. So Tynus there's just put a lap on Nilsson. The gap's come down by half a second between Tynus and Appenloo, but it's not coming down by anywhere near enough for Appenloo to finish in P2. I think third place is going to be the summit of his expectations here tonight. I am slowly racing in a creditable 4th place at the moment. He obviously had a bit of a moment in the early stages of the race. I'm not sure what happened to him. We'll probably find out on the Discord server afterwards what happened to I Am Slow. But he was running in a solid P2 and then just suddenly dropped down the order for no apparent reason. He was going really slowly for about a lap and then suddenly just got going again like nothing happened. So he dropped down to about 9th place at the time, and he's done really well to pick himself back up and get himself back up into a really solid P4 at this point. So you've got to give it to him there. He really did get himself back in the game. He's running a couple of seconds ahead of Archie, running in P5. You've got Spuzz there, still going in P6. These guys in the mid-pack, we haven't spoken about them too much in the second part of this race. They've just all kept quite quiet, kept to themselves, kept out of trouble. Ultimately, they're going to get some very good points as their reward. Senna there running in P7. He's got 16 seconds back to this man, Guitar Rich, in 8th place. Diamenta there in 9th. There's 2 seconds behind him. You've got Pete Bibb there, who is still in the background on Diamenta right now, still in that fight. But Guitar Rich has checked out away from these two. He's now got into a bit of a groove here and looking to consolidate his a P8 finish here in the first race of this season. Gap up to 11 seconds now between Jazman and Tynus. Appenlou running in third. He's just over 20 seconds off the lead at the moment, so it's been a very solid first outing for Appenlou, all things considered. Very impressed with him, applying himself in the way he has, managing to take pole position. I thought to myself it was going to be an exciting battle for the podium spots, but in the end he has really bossed it in the best of the rest class today. He's been head and shoulders above the likes of Archie, Spuzz, Video Gamer as well. When he was here, obviously he retired from the race. I Am Slow, I don't know whether he might have been able to challenge him a little bit potentially if he hadn't have had the sort of catastrophe in the early stages of the race. Who knows? Again, I think the gap's probably a little bit too much to really expect him to have been able to do much. I think it's the gaps. Yeah, it's just a bit too much really between them. I don't think that I Am So would have been too close to Appenlou anyway. I think I Am So probably lost about 20 seconds all told from that first lap nightmare that he had. We'll obviously see the gap between them once I Am So comes round to complete this lap that he's on. But I reckon there's quite a bit of time separating them right now. Again, it's not actually coming up on the screen, so we don't know what the gap is between them. But I would say that's probably not much less. Probably not much less than a minute between the two of them right now. And I reckon I Am So maybe lost about 30 seconds max. So, yeah, it's not made a difference. Appenlou's definitely been very much, I think, the best of the rest in this race. But Jazman has been, once again, as we so often say, the man to beat. He is so often in another class from everybody else, but tonight he's had the man who's challenged him in the PS5 League, Tynus. On a similar level to him, Tynus rolled the dice. Tynus didn't really make the progress through the traffic that Jazman did, so he rolled the dice and went for an alternate strategy in the hope that he could make one set of tyres last the whole race, and it just did not work for him. It's as simple as that. I reckon it'd be closer to Jazman if he had gone for the same strategy. The gap would probably be, under 10 seconds. It'd probably be closer to 5 seconds, maybe even less than 5 seconds if Tynus had gone for the same strategy. But ultimately he just rolled the dice and went for something different. Obviously came out with track position. He was 7 seconds ahead of Jazman, but Jazman very quickly brought that gap down and overtook him. It was a formality really. There was no doubt about whether Jazman was going to reel him in, and he just got onto the back of him and dispatched him with relative ease in the end. But currently 13 seconds separating these guys, Jazman and Tynus, at this point. As we see Yellow Army into the pits, so he's coming in for an impromptu pit stop here at the end of this race. I'm not quite sure what that's in aid of, but yeah, it wasn't necessary, wasn't needed. But for some reason he appears to be making it. Maybe he's got damage or something. I don't know. Potentially could have racked up a few ailments on the car. Nonetheless, we see in the foreground Dimentor and Pete Bib battling over 9th and 10th as Jazman is about to put a lap on them. And Jazman is about to start the final lap of the race, so this is it now for the first round of the season here at Silverstone for the GT3 League. The 3-time champion here, Jazman, looking set to get off to the start of this season in the best possible way. 3-time Motive Racing champion, the man in the number 14 Bentley, his trademark car is his regular number that he always goes for. It's been a superb performance here, as we've come to expect from him. Tynus' strategy just didn't really pay off. He wanted to he tried something to maybe outfox Jazman, but Jazman's faster, fresher tyres just pretty much obliterated him, and he came past with ease in the end. I was hoping Tynus would be able to block him and maybe park his car and just do everything he could to keep him behind, but it just wasn't to be. It just wasn't happening. And yeah, really well done to Jazman on his performance tonight, as he's right on the back of Dimentor and Pete Bibb, who are still battling here over 9th and 10th places. Dimentor a bit wide actually, they're coming out onto the international pit straight. Now what Jazman's doing here, and I respect this a lot, I really do rate this, is he's backing off of these two. As I say that, unfortunately Pete Bibb has gone wide, so that's that battle done. But I was just saying there, one thing I really respect about Jazman, that what he was doing there, you know, some people might not pick up on this, but what he was doing, he was backing off of them, because he knows that if he overtakes them, then it ends their race, because if he finishes a lap ahead of them, then their race will automatically be over once he overtakes them. So he wanted to give them the chance to have their battle, to sort of fight their battle to the end. And you know, you've got to respect that. He's a very courteous, and he's a thoughtful driver as well as a fast driver. But nonetheless, Jazman coming through Luffield for the final time here, and he's going to take first blood this season for the PS4 GT3 League on a Wednesday night. Tynus in the house, tried the strategy, did not work. Jazman over the line. He's going to take the checker flag for the first race of the season, and it's a superb drive from him. A customary Jazman performance here, and yeah, absolutely superb stuff. Righting the wrongs of his last performance here at Motive at Silverstone, which went absolutely peaked on. Jazman here definitely getting this season started on the right foot. Tynus in the house comes over to take a second place in the end, and sure, he won't be too disappointed with that, but he would have been hoping to upstage Jazman. Nonetheless, a very good haul of points down. Appenloo taking third place on his debut tonight. Really well done to him. Pole position in the qualifying session, and you know, finished the race 22 seconds off of Jazman. Over an hour race, that's no slouch, I tell you. That is pretty solid, and he'll only improve over the course of this season. So looking forward to seeing Appenloo's progress over the course of this season. But I Am Slow is just coming down the Wellington straight at the moment. He's about 3 seconds clear of Archie and Spaz. Spaz is actually really piling the pressure on Archie on this last lap. He's going to look to try and maybe force him into a mistake. Only got 2 corners left though. Well, 3 corners really, 2 corners now anyway. But this heavy braking zone, Luffield, and then the flat out Woodcourt, which is not really a corner to be honest. But I'm so nonetheless will take P4 in the Ferrari. Solid result there from him. Archie comes over to take 5th place in the end, with Spuz coming over to take P6. Guitar Rich is going to come around to take 7th place, as he's just coming into Brooklands now, as he's 10 seconds ahead of Senna. In fact, Senna and Dimentor having a battle right to the end here, as Dimentor's looking to the outside into Brooklands. Senna's just covering that off into Luffield Dacom. I think he's going to have that done. Guitar Rich coming over to take P7 here, so some good points there for him. Senna, I think, is going to hold on ahead of Dimentor just about. Yellow Army there in the foreground coming over in P12. P-Bib and Nilsson have finished the race in 10th and 11th places, and Senna does hold on ahead of Dimenta by 0.2 of a second for 8th place. So it is Jazman who takes the win in the end by 14 seconds ahead of Tynus. So not a massively dominant win, but he had control, didn't he? I mean, there's no doubt about that. Tynus P2, Appenlu takes 3rd place in the end ahead of I Am Slow, who was a long way behind the top 3, over a minute clear of everybody else. So Appenlu keeping the front 2 honest somewhat. I mean, 20 seconds, you know, over a 60-minute race, if he could find a few tenths a lap, you know, he's going to be right in that battle. But those are the top 3, Jazman, Tynus and Appenlu. I Am So 4th, Archie 5th, followed by Spuzz in 6th, Guitar Rich 7th, Senna in 8th place, followed by Dimenta 9th, Pete Bib completing the top 10, followed by Nilsson in 11th, Yellow Army 12th, Video Gamer unfortunately retiring from the race, got a stop-go penalty, and decided that was going to be that for him. Only 13 drivers turned up for this week, unfortunately. We were missing a few didn't make it, a few couldn't come, so we'll hopefully have a closer to full grid next week for the second round of the season. That'll be at Monza, same place, same time next week, 7:30 p.m. BST. Also, make sure you join us tomorrow night for the Touring Cars on Project Cars 2. We'll be kicking off another Touring Car season at Brno at 8:30 p.m. BST, that's UK time, followed by on Friday night we'll be back for the F1 League as always, and then after that we're not going to be starting the PS5 League and the PS4 Sprint League until next Sunday. So Sunday's going to be a clean slate. Saturday we don't do anything, so after the F1, after the Touring Cars and the F1, we won't see you till Monday. That'll be for the Clio Cup on Monday night, 8:30 p.m. BST as always on Project Cars 2, and then obviously we're back here on next Wednesday for the race at Monza. So yeah, that's a week in the life of Motive Racing. Be sure to smash the subscribe button if you enjoyed this stream tonight, guys. Leave a like if you can as well. And if you want to get involved in the action, if you're on the PlayStation platform, PS4 or PS5, doesn't matter which one. If you're on the PlayStation at all, come along to www.motiveracing.com, click the link on the Join Leagues tab, and you can get involved in the Discord, and you can join any of the leagues that we got going mid-season. I know, you know, first week of the season, but you know, it's early doors, so it's still time to get involved. We've also got leagues that haven't started up yet. The PS4 Sprint GT3 Cup on a Sunday, which will start next Sunday, the Sunday after the one coming, and also the PS5 GT3 League as well. I'm rambling a bit now, so I'm going to round it off. Cheers everybody once again, and we'll hopefully see you soon. Yeah. Good night, everybody. See you later.